Today's show brought to you by the following sponsors.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks news website. We've got another in our series of interviews with executives of junior mining companies. And today I have one of our new sponsors, P2 Gold, is on, and they're ahead of schedule. Last time we talked, they were planning hopefully to get drilling in March sometime. And they're ahead of schedule with drilling right now. Great to hear, Joe and Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Al.
Yeah, no, nice to see. Fortune smiled on us, and we were able to get a drill early.
Good. Well, you also put some results in there. Let's get into that info and then talk about the drill plans.
Sure. You want to start with?
Yeah. So we had the last 4 holes from our program last year. They came in late in the year. And, in short, 3 holes at the car body zone, which is a low sulfidation system down at towards the southern end of our property. And then the only hole that we could get into Lucky Strike, the other big high sulfidation zone. And, we're extremely pleased with those values. We didn't get any real surprises. We hit what we expected to hit, so we just continue to support the resource. And in particular at Lucky Strike, that was off on the eastern margin of the deposit. So it really shows that system's wide open. It continues to go. There's no drilling east of us. And we've got a lot of legs on all the zones.
Yeah, and the nice thing to see with car body is as well is that's our highest, small, but it's our highest grading zone. Average grades 1.39 grams per ton gold with 140,000 ounces.
Yeah.
So nice little deposit.
And in your news release, there was a map showing the various zones. When I first started trying to visualize this project, I knew that there was drilling, but it's kind of spread out a little bit more than I thought it was. And is there a possibility that these 4 zones are connected somehow?
Car body, based on the historical research, is more likely related to the Paradise Peak system to the south of us. Now that has yet to be proven, but definitely Sullivan, Lucky Strike, and Gold Ledge. Historically, Newcrest thought they were coming off a big alkaline porphyry at depth, and everything we're doing is supporting that, including the geophysics we've done and the MT survey that we're now doing the phase 2 of that. So yes, the short answer is those 3 zones are likely all coming off of a bigger porphyry system at depth.
So car body is sort of on the southwest side.
That's correct.
And then the other 3 are kind of north and east of that.
Yep.
And car body, you said it might be associated with something that's off your property. What kind of a system is that, and what's the relationship?
Well, I'm going back to 1994 in a paper that Dick Silito wrote. And he's the one that suggested that area was related to Paradise Peak. And that's a porphyry system as well, but Paradise Peak was very, very high level porphyry system. Again, another alkaline porphyry. But there they were way up high in the system. They're up in the steam heated zone. But Joe, I forget it was
high grade gold silver, more silver than gold, but FMC mined it in the 80s and into the early 90s before Meridian was spun out.
So does car body look like it's an extension of a porphyry? So are you looking at veins there, or
we're
what?
Still trying to figure it out. There's definitely a stockwork. and we're in the same stratigraphy as we are with Sullivan and Lucky Strike. So, you know, as I say, we've done very little work there, and I'm only referencing the Paradise Peak because of Dixilito, but it's definitely a low sulfidation system, and it's coming off a bigger intrusive. Now, whether it's our intrusives to the north or the Paradise Peak one, we have to figure that out still.
Okay, so in that car body, there was, it looks like there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 target areas. And
Yeah.
you guys drilled 2 holes. Let me get to the right map here. Car body, where are you? There it is. And you drilled 2 holes, 025 and 024. And in 25, you had very nice gold distribution in the, I don't know, first 20 meters or so. But then you had some kicks, sniffs, keep going. So that hole was pretty much mineralized throughout the entire hole. And then you step over and you had a good mineralization near surface, and then a nice higher grade zone there. And then again, that hole is continuous gold mineralization.
Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of spiky hits, and then we get into those more cohesive zones in all of car body. So you know, we've got a lot of work to do there. We think there's a lot of room to expand that, but we definitely need to understand the ore controls a lot better. And once we do that, we expect to be able to add to that zone.
And so are you doing some geophysics to get a better picture of the car body area?
Yeah, we've run IP, and our phase 1 MT survey went over that, and that certainly shed a lot of light on things. And, you know, we've got more drilling planned there. I think ultimately what we need to do is drill it, because most of the drilling is old historical drilling, not even the Newcrest work. So we really need to get some better numbers, get the chemistry, and be able to put the geologic picture together.
Yeah, because there was, I can see on the map, there was several holes drilled, but it's quite wide spaced and not really focused, if you will.
And a lot of that's the old percussion drilling as well. So, you know, the data is suspect. But, you know, on the other hand, we went back and twinned some drill holes and got some pretty good numbers. So we're confident the system's there. We just need to understand it better.
And how was that in comparison to those percussion drills?
Well, you know, I'd say equal to or slightly better.
So they might have been losing some gold.
That's always been our thesis on this property, is it wasn't drilled properly. With the subvertical holes in a stock work, there's clearly stock work associated with car body. So there's a good potential that the historical work is understating the results.
And 024 and 025, they're what, 100 meters apart?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
And then you stepped over to 026, and you hit something quite nice there on the distribution as well.
Yeah, that was a really nice hole.
So do you think that those two might be, those two zones might be associated? You put them on the same cross section.
Well, certainly, you know, there's a couple old historical holes that suggest they don't connect, but we still have to look at the quality of that work. So we're just going to go back to first principles on this. We know that we've got a good solid resource to work with, but we really need to understand it better, and we're going to follow this mineralization, you know, as it projects itself.
Yeah, because in 2021, we did a soil survey, going back to basics.
Yeah.
We did a soil survey over car body.
Yeah.
And did you publish that? Is that anywhere we can find?
No, not yet. We're still looking.
It's in the lab.
We just got some of that data. We just got, and yeah, there's still one work order that's sitting out. We're waiting for it.
And what about the geophysics in that area? Have you put that anywhere?
No, not yet, because we're still waiting on the follow-up MT work.
Yeah. Oh, so there was some historical geophysics?
No, we ran a GIP. What is it? I forget what the acronym's for. We ran some IP down there. We actually ran some IP last summer over a lot of the zones, just to see how it would respond. And then we did our phase one, the 22.5 kilometers of MT, went over all the zones, including car body. And we're now back doing a phase two and refining some of those original areas of interest.
So down the road, you might put that out when you've got a more comprehensive geophysical picture.
That's right.
Yeah, when we have the package.
But gee, from the drilling, I mean, you've got nice continuity. You've got good step outs there. I mean, you're 100 meters between two holes, and then what, a few hundred meters to the other, to 26?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of potential down there.
And, you know, I'm always looking for continuity, and then it's right at surface.
Yeah, collared in the mineralization in some spots.
Is that in oxides?
Yes, oxides and transition zone.
So something you could potentially open pit if you get enough size to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's mineable. It's just a question of, you know, is it heap leach or mill?
Okay. So, well, I mean, car body, you say it's small, but it looks like it's got the potential to get a lot bigger.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely.
Definitely.
You know, and we're expecting to add to it for sure.
Okay. So, okay, let's get back to the area where you've got the Lucky Strike, which didn't have a lot of drilling in the past. And you poked a hole kind of out in an area up in the more mountainous area that's quite a bit away from the historical drilling. At Gold Ledge, you've got not a lot of drilling, and then you've got more drilling at Sullivan, and the potential to hang these all together. Let's start talking about that, Ken.
Oh, sure. So, yeah, Lucky Strike has, you know, about the same number of tons in the resource as Sullivan, but you're right, the drilling is more sparse. So we really wanted to get out on that eastern area and just confirm that the bit of work that was out there, that the estimation was pulling the resource out, was real. And it is. You know, basically, you know, we hit the same stratigraphy as we hit at Sullivan. We hit the same, you know, the mineralization, the same grade distributions. Everything about Lucky Strike is exactly the same as Sullivan. The gold grades in the existing areas that have been drilled are lower, but the areas with the higher grade golds, you know, don't have a lot of drilling. So that's going to be the focus going back, you know, with this next program, is get into the core of the zone where we expect higher grade golds.
Because there was one historical hole about, what's the scale here? Okay, so
north.
To the north, and then one quite a significant distance to the south.
Yeah.
GBR 27.
Yeah. GBR 27 is our hole. You go further south of that one, and it's G40 through 44. I know all these because I've been staring at these maps the last 10 days. I mean, part of this shock was I had to give up my Christmas vacation to lay out a drill program. hire geologists. Try get a geologist to write you back in the between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, exactly. What are these guys? They're part-timers.
Well, yeah, but at any rate, we got a really good guy in just to augment our crew. But at any rate, yeah, there's the historical drilling on the eastern side of the deposit is really sparse. So we were very happy when we saw the geology, we saw the grade distribution, the grades. It gives us a lot of confidence that we're going to make this zone bigger. And I fully expect the gold grades to come up based on some other historical holes that are in the deposit.
Well, yeah, you talk about the distribution there, and you hit about, what is that? Probably 50 meters of continuous high, good grades with some nice spikes in there as well.
Yeah, that's right. And then the tail goes a lot longer. I kind of cut off at about a 0.2 on the copper when I'm doing those averages, but there's a lot more thickness to the zone below where I put it in. And
you ended in mineralization there.
Sort of. It's getting down pretty low. That hole went the proper depth.
Okay, and the next nearest hole was to the north, up the mountain a little bit more. What kind of grades did that get in the historical numbers?
It's similar. As you start getting off the margins of the deposit, the grades start to drop off. So depending on which hole it is, southwest of there, 40 through 43, those are all in the 0.3, 0.4 copper and 0.5, 0.8 grams gold. That one to the very southeast was lower grade, but it's on the margin. And so that system's headed out that way. But we need to provide data between it and the main deposit.
Now, I'm seeing that most of those historical holes were out in the west side. And it looks like they're down in a valley. Am I seeing that right? Like, is there an elevation difference?
Yeah, you drop off there. But it's not a valley. It's you're right. There's a peak, and then the system's just sloping down to the highway.
And does it look like that peak is part of the plumbing that could be associated with Lucky Sullivan?
No, I don't think so. But we're still sorting out some of that. There's no question that Sullivan and Lucky Strike are related somehow. And there's certainly potential to find more mineralization between them, such, expanding car body, because car bodies had very little drilling. But, what we're doing is we're starting from the known, and we're getting our geologic understanding up so we know what we're targeting. And then we step out into the unknown.
So, well, you're kind of out in the unknown a little bit there with Lucky Strike. What made you drill that hole out there? Is it the volcanics?
Well, no. Well, it's very interesting. We went out that way because St. Vincent had a drill hole to the north, and they got some good grades. And we wanted to make certain that wasn't just a wonky outlier, and it's not. So, check the box. We've got good continuity on our system. So that's really important for us. The interesting thing out there is we're way up high in the hanging wall. And so there's a whole bunch of showings around, very high grade showings. They're all structurally controlled. And the nice thing about those things, I don't think where they are is important in terms of being able to develop big tonnage, but they're telling us there's a big system down below us. They're the harbinger. So when we see other high grade showings around, which we've got lots of, then we have to say to ourselves, yeah, okay, we won't get too excited by these showings, but what are they telling us? And so we take these things. So yes, we wanted to go out that way in part because of SVM4, but also because there's some high grade showings kicking around as well. So we've confirmed things. So now, fill back in on Lucky Strike, and then go off and test some of these other areas. But, do the geophysics first, make sure you've got a good plan. We don't have an unlimited budget. We've got to drill for success. Well, I think we have an unlimited budget, but Joe keeps telling me I don't, and I don't understand the way he thinks.
And that's for a long time.
Yeah, it's
like years and
years.
Or he would learn.
Just go and raise some money. Come on.
Exactly. You're delivering with the truth machine, Ken. That's your job.
That's my job. So at any rate, so yes, the volcanics themselves are part of the hanging wall, but there's a lot of showings telling us there's a big mineral system around. So keep looking, keep pushing.
Good. Okay. So now you go to Golden Ledge, and there again, you're up in a mountain a bit, and it looks like a structure goes from Lucky Strike, and most of the drilling would be kind of on the edge of that. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, we haven't spent a lot of time at Gold Ledge yet. So there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of showings. The historical drilling is mostly shallow. They were mostly testing these high-grade structures that the old timers they'd go in and mine, a few tens or hundreds of tons of high-grade copper gold. But again, based on what I just discussed with Lucky Strike, I think those high-grade showings are telling us there's a big system around, and that's one of the areas that we're currently doing our MT across, well, the phase 2, because historically there's a deep IP anomaly there, and we're certainly interested in that area from the MT that we got from our phase 1.
Because it looks like there's a pretty interesting structural story there.
Yeah, a lot of the structures post-mineral. That's all that Nevada extension.
Oh, okay.
So we've got to be careful on generations and structure, but there's no question there's a structural component to the mineralization and to all these showings that come up through the hanging wall rocks.
Okay, and then Sullivan is definitely the area that saw the most drilling.
Yeah.
Okay, and are the red dots is that your drilling?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and are those little black dots, that's all the historical, or is the black dots, is that sampling locations?
Oh, that's historical drill collars. They're vertical holes, so they just show us dots.
Oh, okay, and then the ones with the tails on them are the ones that were angled.
Yeah, those are the historical angle holes.
Okay, so there was a lot of vertical drilling there.
Almost all.
Almost entirely, yeah. And most of it was percussion drilling. It wasn't even RC. So the recoveries, the samples, are not very good.
And I remember from our previous conversations, you guys thought that there was a possibility that that might have understated things, the vertical holes, and you went in there with a series of angled holes. Why don't you touch on that a little bit, Ken?
Sure. So we can see in the Sullivan pit that was excavated by Glamis. That's a small pit. You can see a whole bunch of vertical, subvertical stock work, and we're in the Walker Lane trend. And, so stock work is quite common with the gold mineralization. So we suspected that there was going to be an issue. And based on the vertical holes that we drilled and the angle holes, yeah, we're seeing that the angle holes are likely cutting this stockwork and getting a more representative sample. And so, you know, we saw anywhere from 10 to 15, 20% increase in the gold values, mostly in the angle RC versus the vertical RC.
So it's kind of striking or dipping like this, and you guys cut across it like that?
Yeah, it's subvertical stock work, and we go across it more. So you just, by drilling angle holes, you got a better chance of cutting the stock work.
Put more ground.
Yeah.
Instead of missing it, possibly missing part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, your focus has mainly been on Sullivan.
Yeah.
And going this new program, where is that starting? Are you starting at Sullivan and then move around, or?
Yeah, yes is the short answer. We, you know, there's some logistical issues of getting pads in place, and so we're starting at Sullivan. We're doing some step out drilling there to test some things. Not a lot, you know, 5 holes there. Then we want to go up to Carbody and drill 4 holes up there to kind of test some ore control ideas that we have. And then we'll move the drill down and spend the rest of the time at Lucky Strike.
Okay. And I'm going off memory a little bit here, but I remember the cross sections from Sullivan, and it definitely looks like they've got some good continuity and that they're leading you deeper.
Yep. Yeah, so that's part of our work. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 holes are testing that down dip extension. And one of the holes is going up dip on an extension where we had a lot of good grade, and we want to take those good grades up higher to surface.
And so is that the real target, is to get down to that possible, is it a possible porphyry that you?
Yes, I don't know. We'll see what the geophysics tells us. I don't believe the source porphyry that we're looking for is coming directly off of Sullivan. I think it's going to be somewhere between Sullivan and heading up towards Lucky Strike. So, you know, that Carbody area is very interesting, and there's some historical work by Newcrest and stuff. So I think that's where our source is going over that way. And there's a bunch of reasons why that is. Towards
Carbody.
Carbody and Lucky, or not
Gold Ledge.
Gold Ledge, sorry.
Gold Ledge, okay.
Gold Ledge. Yeah, sorry, got confused. Yeah.
Good. Well, if that all comes together, my gosh, you could be looking at something quite big here. And that's what you guys aren't in this for small.
No, you need a certain size. You need that mass if you're going to make a decent sized mine. So we're looking for something that's going to be in that, you know, as a minimum. We want to mine, if we're going to build a mine, that sort of 250 to 300,000 ounce gold equivalent a year, sort of minimum.
And there's a copper element to this potential as well, is there not, Ken?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of copper actually. So we're you know, in the low grades, we're in the 0.2 to 0.25. In the high grades, we're in the 0.3 to 0.4. So percent copper. So yeah, there's you know, for us, while that, you know, was a detriment in the 1980s and 90s, for us it's not. It's the technology's improved.
Well, and back then you were looking at 60 cents a pound copper. Now you're looking at copper going towards $5 and higher.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's only going up.
So for us, it's a benefit, and so yeah, we're quite happy.
Wow, it's quite an exciting story, and that this is just one of your two key focuses. We'll talk more about your golden triangle. We talked about it last time, but you've got stuff in the golden triangle, and well, that's kind of out of season. You can do a bunch here pretty much year round. So it's always good season in Nevada.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah. No, I mean, the guys are in short sleeves today. It's going up into the mid 50s, low 60s.
Nice.
So it's nicer than what we're staring at out the window here. Let's put it that way.
They're certainly not in short sleeves up in the Golden Triangle.
No. No.
Yeah, not for long at least.
Okay, so well, I'm really happy to hear that you guys are way ahead of schedule in the drilling in Nevada. And obviously I think the combination of Lucky Strike, Gold Ledge, and Sullivan have big potential, but this car body has me intrigued as well.
Yeah. We've got more targets than we have drill holes, and that's a great position to be in.
Okay, well, how about I wrap it up? Was there anything you guys wanted to end it on?
Let's see. Oh, down your neck of the woods, we noticed that Pizzeria just got sold by SSR Mining to Endeavor Silver. For what would that go for? About 100 million?
Yeah, 77 million. But I saw a different price tag plus an NSR.
That was another one project that Ken's group discovered while at Silver Standard. So these things are still coming alive and moving forward.
Yeah, we think Silver Standard with all the sales is probably up close to $1.5 billion of net sales of all the projects that we put into it. So, certainly great value there, and that's what we're going to do at P2.
For the audience, we have to put things into a little bit of context because Joe and Ken are so modest. They don't talk about their history in the business, but long history with Silver Standard, a major silver producer, followed on by moving over to Pretium. Pretium has just been bought out, and now the guys are focused on P2 Gold. So quite a career you guys finding and building.
Yeah.
Thanks, Allan. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we expect 2022 to be a big year for P2.
So now, are you going to turn it into another Silver Standard size company or Pretium?
No, not that small. We're going big this time.
Yeah. Setting their sights high.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's great stuff. Yeah, I think it's important for investors to know that, you guys are talking about lots of stuff, but you've done lots of stuff in your careers. And, it's not just some junior mining guy that just fell off the turnip truck.
Yeah, no, we're a couple old mining guys that fell off the turnip truck.
Fell off it a long time ago.
Yeah, banged their heads and got back on.
You recovered. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up, guys, and we'll have a little chat at the other end.
You bet.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, we closed on an important note. These guys have the history that of finding stuff, and not just one or two. It's been a long history of finding stuff that, as Ken or Joe mentioned, another sale of another project that was found by the group following Pretium is now going through it. And so they've got the pedigree. And now they're focusing on two key areas. One is in the Golden Triangle. We'll talk more about that in the future when they get closer to drilling. And they're ahead of schedule in drilling in Nevada. And in Nevada, it definitely looks like they've got the makings of something quite special for an open pit, but then also the depth potential. So you take a look at the whole package, a nice share structure, good insider ownership, smart, talented guys that have done it before, and some really good projects to work on. And they're drilling right now, and a modest valuation. These are all the check marks of, companies that I look to invest in and look to invite in as sponsors of my website. So I think these guys are going to have a great news flow from Nevada, which will lead to news flow from the Golden Triangle. So they've got a potential for a lot of catalysts. Stay tuned. I think you're going to see some great things out of these guys. Have a great day.